Hey, how's it going? So this is my week 3 end of lesson reflection. This week we covered the cake Stephen Carpenter case, and then also we addressed the A16Z Anderson Horowitz case. So both interesting cases. In the example with the Stephen Carpenter case with cake, some of my takeaways from that was first to do the initial market research to be able to identify issues with your idea. I think that sometimes as entrepreneurs we can jump wholeheartedly into something without first considering our audience. So we may consider it to be a great idea, but the end user may not see the benefits that we see. I had a similar experience when I ran a business here on campus for the IBC program, where I thought it was really simple, our product, and I thought that everyone would understand how to use it and how to basically partake of it, I guess. And what I didn't realize is because I had this background knowledge and expertise, it was really difficult for customers to process actually the value that they were getting. And I think that that's kind of the same situation that Stephen Carpenter found. Is just that his product had tons of potential, but just didn't necessarily get that potential wasn't reached by the end user, and so ultimately kind of led to their downfall there. I think that key questions that Carpenter had was basically how to avoid this in the future, to be able to learn from your mistakes. And then in the A16Z case, this one was more opposite from the Carpenter case as far as it was a success, and what to do with growing success and how to handle that. I like this because I'm currently taking another class that talks about disruptive theory, and this is a really good example of disruptive innovation into a sustainable market, I guess. You have these incumbents in venture capitalism that have been doing things in a certain way. They've only taken basically calculated risk where there isn't a ton of weaknesses in the businesses, so they invest in those, and this kind of flips on its head with the A16Z company, where they create a network for startup companies to be able to be successful. So I like it because they're investing in the success of their customers that ultimately leads to their success. And I think that that is a huge thing in any business, that if you invest in your customer, eventually you'll see returns. And this is their business. Like if the people they invest in don't do well, then they're going to struggle. But I think that carries over to any form of business, even if I feel like if you invest in your customer, then ultimately you'll see those returns shown in your own business. And I think that the questions that they asked that were significant is like, really, what are our costs if we decide to grow? And I've mentioned this in previous cases, but I think it's significant for entrepreneurs to realize that if you grow too quickly, you can expect there to be some fallback or backlash. And so I think that with their success, they should be asking the questions of how do we scale in the correct manner? How do we take the necessary steps so that we don't outgrow our success? All right. And that's all I have for this week. So thanks. I will talk to you next week.